ability is a blessing, but it becomes a curse whenever it's misused. If you use your magnificent mind to worry about tomorrow, you cloak yourself in dark unbelief. However, when you open, the hope of heaven fills your thoughts. The light of my presence envelops you. Though heaven is future, it is also present tense. As you walk in the light with me, you have 1 foot on earth and 1 foot in heaven. Now you can find this information in Matthew 7:1, John 17:3, Romans 9:21, Timothy 6:15. And this last one was Exodus 15, verse 2.
All right.
Corinthians 10:5 and Hebrews 10:23.
All
I
right.
want you guys to know that we have a little more time now, so I read 2 different verses.
All right.
And that was the reason, the times that we missed sometime, but we won't miss any more reading of the word.
Well,
This carries us, it helps us. We will have an ending word for the end of the show. You guys, my name is Ruby Nell. You can find me on Facebook. I make dolls for little brown girls. I also make fur accessories. You can look me up online. If you need prayers, please contact me.
all right.
I love praying. Contact me.
All right.
You can go to meekme.com to see the meek items that I create. The most valuable thing I do in my life is sharing this prayer with everyone.
It sure is. It's a valuable.
Blessings, you guys, and we love you for listening.
Yeah, it's a value to the Community Matters show. And, you know, we love you for that. And we always will be ready for the prayer and the prayer warrior to come on the Community Matters show. We thank you.
Absolutely, sweetie. Thank you, guys.
We love you.
Brother Jay, Brother Paul, all of the workers for Family Matters, I love you guys.
All right. You know.
Okay, sweetie.
All right. We'll get back
Okay,
with
Miss
you.
Ruby. Y'all come back now, Miss Ruby. Y'all here?
You know, that's one thing I could say about the prayer and igniting our spirit on a Friday morning. It's always a blessing. And you keep giving us the blessing that we need. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love you.
Agape, my
Blessings,
sister.
everyone.
All right.
Agape.
Yes. You know, I want to send my condolences out to the Sid Williams family, to the Lynn August family. We lost some legends in the past week or two, you know, and the thing of it is, we got to stay prayed up regardless how it go, you know, and
All right,
long as we stay prayed up, we can always have our blessings coming to us. And with that, I want to say good morning to my guests, and a pleasure having them here. Our Super Bowl champ with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you know, Ross. Ross, is your
Ross
mic now?
Cockrell. Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for having me on, Walls. I know some of your family very well. I've been coming around for some years now.
Yeah.
And you've asked me a few times when we were going to be on the show, and I'm glad we're finally able to make it happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, Super Bowl Sunday, I had the pleasure of enjoying the Super Bowl with your mother, your aunt, your uncles, and the family. I had that pleasure, you know, and it was better than being at the Super Bowl, you know, because you also have a sister that won, what, a gold medal?
Silver medal.
Silver medal.
400 hurdles.
Yeah.
Right. Keep it in the family, our brother. Keep it in the family.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
She's always shouting out Karen Crow, Lafayette. You know, our grandparents were from here on my mother's side, and it's just a lot of love for the community here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you know, it's a pleasure for having you on the Community Matters show. And when I call you and ask you, you made my day, David, because it sounded like you was just as happy as I was, you know, to be able to get you on the Community Matters show. I see you all the time at the relative's house, you know, and it's a blessing to see a young black man, that came to a community and doing so much. You're a part of Holy Family, you're part of the kids at Holy Family, and a lot of people don't even know that,
No. I mean, a lot of people wonder, they see my last name, Cockrell. They don't really know where that comes from. My dad is a New Yorker, right? And that's where it comes from. On my mother's side, you have the Peltier name.
Yeah.
And, growing up, coming down here, I was all about legacy.
Mm-hmm.
So legacy on the family farm with my grandparents. My grandfather was a cattleman, and legacy at Holy Family. With some of the alumni there, building on the foundations for the future.
And you're trying to take a lot of your grandfather's legacy.
I'm not trying to take it. I just want to build on it. I just want to build on it.
Well,
because, when you talk about someone with a 6th or 7th grade education, I mean, and was able to be not only a landowner in the Jim Crow South, but a real mover and a shaker out here. I have a lot of respect for what my grandparents did.
Thank you. And the family respect you for following in your grandfather's footsteps. As far as I'm concerned, I know I respect you for doing it. You know what I mean? Because I knew your grandfather real well. A lot of times we would have dinner on Sunday, and we would argue about politics, And he would tell me at the end, "You see, you know too much about politics." Well, it's not that I know a whole lot about politics. I just try to follow it and make sure that the politics don't ride on my back, like Jesus Christ carried that cross.
Oh, yeah.
Because right now we are in a situation that we ain't never seen before. I think it's going to be worse than the Jim Crow era,
Yeah.
And not just for blacks or, I say people of color, period, all of us, including whites,
Yes.
And if you think you're excluded, shame on you, and that's the way I feel about it. Now, I know our president, or you guys president, is doing a whole lot of crooked things, a whole lot of lies, a whole lot of deception and defeat. He's trying to defeat us as U.S. citizen, So, but the thing of it is, I enjoy you coming here, because you did something that a lot of young black men wish to do, and if you could elaborate on some of that, how you got to be a Super Bowl champ with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and let them hear what you went through, to get there.
For sure. I mean, and Wallace, I definitely want to talk some politics with you as well. And we could, as I know we got some time on the show, so we can take it back all the way and, talking about voting, talking about the electorate, and making sure that we are actually getting out there to do the things to make our voice heard. I mean, we had a lot of young men, a lot of young black men who, for whatever reason, whether it was a ride, whether it was work, whatever reason, weren't able to make their voices heard.
Right.
We have time. We can definitely circle back to the politics. We can talk that all day.
Yeah.
The football part of it, though, for me, I've talked about it. People see my sister.
Mm-hmm.
She won a silver medal. I have another sister who just completed the bar, passed the bar. She's a lawyer, attorney in Washington, D.C. I played professional football, won a Super Bowl champion, and I won a Super Bowl. One of the first things people say is like, "Man, your family must be so athletic."
Yeah.
So athletic. And for me, I never really thought myself as I'm not even the best athlete on my family, in my family, and I definitely wasn't even the best athlete amongst my cousins on my father's side or on my mother's side. I got a lot of cousins who were very, very great athletes, superior athletes, and for one reason or another got caught up in the barriers of the system. And that's one of the things that I'm most thankful for both my parents and my grandparents, and even a lot of my older cousins who went through some of the, who crossed some of the barriers and made some of the mistakes and made sure that they took the time to tell me on both my father's side and on my mother's side.
Okay.
Taking the time to say, hey, I had an injury here, and then I didn't make the best decisions afterwards. Or I did get a college scholarship, and when I got to college, I did X, Y, Z, and I ended up getting kicked out of school. So, taking that time to listen, learn, and then there was one thing that you had to do. You had to put the work in. There's no way around it. The time in the weight room, the time on the field, the time in the film room, it all matters.
Yeah.
That time mattered, and listening to the people who went before me, who may have had an opportunity and it didn't go so well, or the people who didn't have an opportunity at all, like my grandparents,
right,
who lived in segregation, who lived in Jim Crow, and took the time to say, hey, you have a real opportunity here that it wasn't even legal for me to do these things.
Right. Well, a lot of things when I was coming up wasn't legal to do. You didn't have the rights to go to a counter and order a hamburger, and if you did, you had to go to the end of the counter. If you had an establishment that you wanted to go and get you something to eat, you had to go through the back door. And now things have changed, but a lot of things seem like they gone through the revolving door. Things are just not like it used to be. Let's go back 5 years ago. 5 years ago, you had things that you could do that seem like it's coming to a halt right now, you know? And if you don't have a name for yourself, it's bad. And even you being a Super Bowl champ, I know some places you have been, and they don't act like you did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At the end of the day, you're still a black man, no matter where you go. In a lot of places.
Yeah. And I know you played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's in Florida.
Yeah.
And Florida is a nice state, nice place to go. You know what I mean? But it's no different than Louisiana. They got racism there, just like they have racism all over. I lived in California for many years, and I come up with California was just as racist as Louisiana. Louisiana was blatant with it. California was hidden.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth.
And that's the way when I talk to my people in Florida, that's the way they tell me it is. A lot of it is hidden, but a lot of it is right on out front with
a lot of it is right on display. So actually, one of the biggest Confederate flags that I've ever seen in my life flies on the interstate. It flies on the interstate between Orlando and Tampa. Right, one of the largest intersections that we have between I-4, I believe it's I-4 and I-75 or I-270. It's right. I mean, anybody that's from that area or has driven through that area, they're going to know exactly what it is large and in charge. Right. So when you say there's a lot of similar person, what the history of Louisiana, the history of Jim Crow South, the history of Acadiana is not unique. That's an American history. That's an American story. I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina. We remembered. I mean, South Carolina was just across the border from South Carolina. In 2008, in 2009, 2010, they still had some rallies going out in the middle of the street in Columbia, South Carolina. So there's a real history here that we do have to confront and face up to, saying that we can consolidate ourselves as well, and we can project our power too a little bit as well.
Yeah, well, when I drove Big Rig, I went to Florida a lot. I also went to South Carolina, North Carolina. And I remember when I first went to North Carolina, it is going to redirect itself,
Yeah.
Huh?
Image froze. I'm trying to get that.
Yeah, okay.
Audio's still going through, so keep going.
Okay. Well, when I first went to North Carolina, to get into North Carolina, you had a way station. And right after you passed the way station, they had an off-ramp. And that's where I had to get off to go deliver the goods. So the guy that I was delivering the goods to, he said, "You didn't have no problem getting here?" I said, "Not so far." So he said, "Well, I'm going to tell you a little secret." He said, "When you leave from here, they got a grocery store. Stop there at the grocery store, get you a cup of coffee, and when you get to that way station, hold that receipt up."
Let them know you're buying.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I spend money over here. So, but a lot of times when you got to those way stations, the color of your skin, they would pull you in.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
And when they would pull you in, they would look for something to try to find that you wasn't, something was wrong with you, you know what I mean? And I remember one time, they looked. I said, "What are you guys looking for?
Oh, my goodness.
We know something is wrong."
They look for a violation.
Yeah,
something.
yeah. So I looked over there, the fax machine, the telephone was all taped up, So when they find something, they find me that I didn't have a way slip, And when they found that, what they was looking for, they told me to call the owner of the truck and tell him to send $150 down. I said, "Well, how can I do that? All your phone is taped up. Good thing we had cell phone at the time."
Yeah.
And we got it to where he sent the money. Once he sent the money, I was good to go. But when you call racism blatant, sometimes that's where it was, in your workforce. And when you got it in your workforce, you say, "Hey, this is not supposed to be like that." But it was, Ross.
I mean, I can't imagine some of the legal barriers, some of the institutional barriers that were put in place, especially across the Jim Crow South, because that was something that when I was born in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
So this was history for us. This was in our textbooks.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, our history is starting to repeat itself. That's the old saying. If you don't know your history, right, you're doomed to repeat it. And we're seeing it right now where it's happening. What you're talking about is what I've heard described as a black tax.
Yeah.
Those small institutional reforms or those small law codes or violations that we have to make sure that we are on top of. We got to be on top of every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, you can have however many felonies and still be elected president. Right? And you can't even vote in some states, right?
No.
Or I'll really go there for a second. When Florida passed, it was a constitutional amendment that Florida passed that allowed felons to vote, nonviolent felons who had completed their service, who had done done their time, are now out and about. The Florida voters passed that to allow felons to vote. And then at that time, I believe that was 2019, 2020, around that time, our governor, Ron DeSantis, came out and was avidly against it, was doing everything he can to put all the barriers in place, because in his point of view, these felons were going to vote Democrat. These felons didn't deserve a place in our society. They weren't even really considered citizens. Right. So he came out and was strongly against it and did everything he could to disregard our Florida state citizens' vote. Yeah. And now you fast forward 3-4 years later, and we have this guy who's running for president, and he's doing everything he can. I mean, the flip-flop in politics, if you really take the time to see it and study it, you can see Ron DeSantis, our Florida governor, coming out saying, you know, all felons are such and such. No, they don't deserve this. They don't deserve that. And then 2 or 3 years later, he's bending over, kissing the ring right over, making sure that this felon not only is going to be elected president, but this felon will vote in Florida and will have no barrier. No barrier is too high for him to get what he needed.
Well, I remember, I can't remember the year it was, but they sent a girl that was at their time. They sent her back to prison because she voted, you know, and she had the rights to vote. Everybody's trying to stop blacks from voting.
Our voice.
Yeah, our voice. You know, and it have to be something good in it for them to not want us to do it, you know. I remember back in the 60s when they first gave us our voting rights, what we had to do, where we had to go and vote at. And I remember when my mom and dad first voted, the neighborhood was very close-knitted, and everybody was happy that they could go and vote. I don't know where that went to, you know, but it seemed like some people trying to get us to stop voting because we're voting for the wrong things. And I agree with them to a point, you know, but the thing of it is, let's change why we should stop voting, you know, because they say this side do what they want, that side do what they want, and we in the middle, we don't get nothing, you know, and I could understand that. But the thing of it is, let's correct our mistake. Let's correct what happened to make us not want to vote or to make us feel we don't need to vote. And I've been into it since 96, you know, and I've seen all the odds and the ends, what happened, and what really happened. The dollar bill got in our way to a lot of folks that was supposed to be the voice of us here in Lafayette, you know, and when they start collecting money, well, they let us in the wrong path. They allowed the Democrats to do what they wanted to do. They allowed the Republicans to do what they wanted to do. You had a lot of people that was Democrats, you know, but closet Republicans. You had a lot of closet Republicans want to be on the Democrat side. So it got all messed up. You know, just like you take an egg and you scramble it. Yeah. You know, if you don't scramble it right, you're going to have some white still seeing it's not going to all be yellow. So those are the things that messed up, as far as I'm concerned, Lafayette and Lafayette voters, you know. They're going to do what they want to do. They're only doing what they want to do because you're allowing them to do it.
And let's take it all the way back, because we get so focused on the national politics, we get so focused on the federal government and the big stage of presidential elections. But we have a local election coming up. Now, I can't vote in it. I'm not a resident of Louisiana. Mm-hmm. But for all of us here in Lafayette, we should be looking at this local election coming up, and we need to renew our focus on the politics that matter to us and directly affect us.
Right.
And these are the parish votes, the school board votes, the different things going on in our coteries, some of our neighborhoods. Because like you said, there was a time, I remember when my grandfather used to go in his pickup truck and he would just go pick people up.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
He would go pick people up. Like, it's time to vote. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. But they not doing it like they used to do it. And some of them trying to do it, you know, give you a number to call to get a ride and things like this here. And I feel like this, you know, I make it a point, I make it a point to vote in every election. Like they got an election going on right now. I don't know if I could vote in it, but I'm sure go to the poll and see.
Oh, so that's today? That's today that's going on? Or next week?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow
is the last day. They had early voting already for it. I see the signs up on University and things like this here, and I live in that district, and I already have a senator in District 24, you know, and I think this is District 23. So if it's for me, I'm going and voting, you know, and all I got to do is just push one button, you know, and it's done. But a lot of people don't feel that they could take their time. You take your time to go and do everything else, but you won't go take a time to let your voice be heard. Because, see, if I got something wrong and I go to that person that's in office and I voted for him, I say, look, I voted for you, you know, and you're going to hear what I have to say. And if you don't, shame on you, you know.
Yeah.
And I done did it. You know, Josh Gilroy was one of our worst mayor president here. Things that I wanted, I went to him. And when he told me no, I said, that's the wrong answer. He gave me the wrong answer, you know. And I would show him where he needed to do this in order for us to get across the table. You know, I'm not going to go into what I did it for, but it was law enforcement, you know. I made him bring some law enforcement together that he didn't want no parts of. Well, you're going to be a part of this one. You know, I've been fighting for a hospital north of I-10.
Yeah, necessary.
East of Louisiana Avenue, west of East of University, west of Louisiana Avenue. And it seemed like my voice is not being heard, and they hear me, because a lot of people told me, hey, man, that's a good thing. You're trying to get a hospital. Keep voicing it. Keep voicing it.
That's necessary.
Yeah, you know, and Ross, the way it done grew.
Yeah.
you
know that area is exploding. You know it. It's coming. That hospital's coming next.
And I remember one year at the Holodome, it was named the Holodome at the time, I went to a meeting where they was presenting all these subdivisions and stuff like this here that's coming up now, you know, and Mike Hollinger kept asking me, Wallace, you have anything to say? No, Mike, I'm good. Yeah. Second time he came around, he handed me the card. I said, no, Mike, I'm good. The third time he came around, I grabbed the card from him, put my name on it here. And I told him I wasn't against progress, but this here is a beautiful concept of what y'all see for the future. Mm-hmm. But if you don't put a major hospital up here, it's going to go doom, you know. And I see that. And we don't need what you call walk-in clinics.
No, we need a real hospital.
A real hospital. Some people say trauma center. Some people say emergency room access, you know, because we got so many people that then came in. Then you don't just have one car in the driveway. You got 5 or 6 in the driveway, you know. And when you dial that 911, it's an emergency. And by the time the ambulance get to you, it's really emergency. And once they pick you up and have to run you all the way back to the south side, ain't no telling what might happen by then, you know. So this is where I'm at, you know, and
well, it's good to see. It's good to see what the city, what Karen Crow's doing, what Upper Lafayette, some of these places are doing. They're expanding. They're expanding the road. University is expanding right now.
Yeah.
They've done some different things on Willow and the Four Corners area to start to revitalize the area. So there's no doubt that we can all see the city is paying attention, the parish is paying attention, and people are moving to the area. Mm-hmm. We're seeing growth in a lot of ways. I failed to mention it. Happy Valentine's Day to all the people out there. I hope you guys get to celebrate with the love of your lives. It's going to be a special day. And also I got to do a special plug for Holy Family Catholic School. I've been working there on the development team with Monica Johnson, our Director of Development, Principal Rogers Griffin, who's in his swan song right now. He's retiring at the end of this school year. Big shout out to him, Bernadette Darwin, the people who were sent to close the school down. We're seeing a lot of schools getting closed. St. Landry Parish made a big announcement this morning. We're seeing a lot of schools getting closed. Bernadette and Mr. Griffin were sent to close the school down way back in 99, 2000. And here we are 25, 26 years later. Not only is the school growing, but we were able to secure a $5-6 million investment from the diocese and other people in the community, including myself, including the Zuschlag Family Foundation, Acadian Ambulance. Senator Boudreaux was instrumental in organizing a lot of folks as well. The largest infrastructure investment on St. John Street within the last 20 to 30 years. And we're looking really to be a pillar of light. We have this event going on tomorrow morning. It's an all-day event, so if you're coming in after the Karen Crow Festival around noon, that'd be perfect. We're going to have breakfast. We're going to have lunch provided by Chick-fil-A. We're doing a special presentation of a movie called Black Boys, executive produced by former New Orleans Saint player Malcolm Jenkins, 2019 Walter Payton Man of the Year. And in this movie, they talk about 4 categories, which we're going to expand upon in the afternoon session. We have the morning session with breakfast provided. We'll show the movie, talking about black bodies, black voices, our hearts and our mind. How do we expand on these things? And we'll do that in the afternoon. So if you need to come by, we'll have Chick-fil-A for lunch. If you need to come by after the Mardi Gras parade, you're more than welcome. That's 200 St. John Street, Holy Family Catholic School, the old St. Paul. I know you guys know it, the old St. Paul. We have a lot of alum that are getting active and involved in this. And I also want to make a plug because we have these things going on right now. They're closing schools overnight. So we have to be honest about that. And at Holy Family, we want to be the catch-all. We understand that there's a history there. We understand that, you know, people may have forgotten about us for whatever reason, but we're taking, we have a $10,000 commitment right now that was provided by a former alum. That is a match for transportation funds for all the people who are in St. Landry, for all the people who are in Karen Crow, for the people who are thinking about changing schools and where they might need to go. We're reforming at Holy Family Catholic to capture all these kids who are getting left behind, and supposedly where this education policy is supposed to be no child left behind. We're seeing elementary schools getting closed overnight, and we want to make sure that we have the transportation capabilities to go to Sunset, to go to Grand Coteau, to go to Karen Crow, to go to Abbeville, to go to Youngsville, to go wherever we need to go to make sure that all of our children, that is the mission of the school, started in 1903. The mission of the school is to educate black and brown children, no matter where they are, no matter where they come from. Class doesn't matter, gender doesn't matter. We're gonna give you all the tools of faith spiritually, and we're gonna give you the practical tools to take on what we're seeing in life, politically and in business, whether that's entrepreneurial services, whether that's financial literacy, whether that's simple things like dental health checkups. We're working with the Southwest Louisiana Area Health Education Center right now, Swallowheck, to provide some mental health services, behavioral health services, everything from you know, like I said, checking your teeth, checking your mind, and you know, we can check our bank accounts as well as we pray and work for a better day.
Oh man, that's awesome. You know, for a young man to have the initiative to want to see other kids go forward. You know, I'm a product of St. Paul, you know, and when they changed the name to Holy Family, I didn't have nothing to do with it. It seemed like I would watch the kids go from school to church, you know, on especially during the Easter holidays, you know, and that was great. I had a lot of conversations with Mr. Griffin. You know, Mr. Griffin was a very big instrumental to that school, you know, and he always tell me, Wallace, I'm going to do it until I can't do it no more. And, you know, to him retiring, I don't know if he trained somebody to come behind him, but, you know, once the old saying go, once the good go away, it's hard to find another replacement. You know, and we could see it in our family.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
How where the elder that really was striving to make something of us, once they go away, it seemed like everything goes with them. You know. And it's hard, Ross. It gets hard.
It
you know?
It does. When you lose that glue piece.
Yeah.
And Mr. Griffin was definitely a glue piece for the school. He was a one-man wrecking show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did everything from driving the bus when he first got there, coaching the basketball team, coaching the track team.
Mm-hmm.
He's still coaching the track team, teaching classes.
Right.
Him and Miss Darwin were pretty much doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything for that school, and to replace him with a single person is not going to happen. Like you said, we can't replace him with a single person. Expect them to have that much moxie, that much grit, that much heart for the school. Mm-hmm. So we need a team.
Right.
We need a collaboration. We're building this thing up right now. Yeah. Whether that's me, whether that's some other folks, we have some great candidates who have interviewed and will continue to interview for this position before we make our announcement. Before the diocese makes this announcement, mm-hmm. Father Rick, our chancellor, is leading and will make that announcement. I believe soon. But it is going to take a collaborative effort, whether that's 100 black men, whether that's Acadiana black nurses, mm-hmm. whether, you know, all these different groups that we have here in the Lafayette area, whether that's the Divine Nine. We have a lot of people who are doing a lot of work, a lot of good work here.
Yes. Yeah.
And the only thing that I can say is we just need better consolidation. We need to communicate.
Yeah.
Let's talk to each other, because who cares who gets the credit? When we're doing it for the betterment of our community and for the future of our community.
Yeah, well, one of the things that was great for Holy Family that St. Paul didn't have was a gym.
Yeah.
You know, and now it have a beautiful gym. You use it as a gym auditorium. You know.
Yes.
When I was going to school, we used the lunchroom and auditorium. You know, mm-hmm. So all of that is a blessing, you know, and to have a person with the initiative to go forward, you know, to see that it's going to happen. You know, I'm up there in age, man.
You sure? You look about 55 to me.
Stop it, man. I got the double nickel, but I mean the double digits, but not double nickels. You know. So, but the thing of it is, man, it's an honor for an elderly person. That's why I call myself elderly person, to see the younger generation wants to do something other than pull out a gun and want to shoot at each other. You know, carry a bag of drugs around, taken away from the community and things like this here. It's an honor. I guarantee you that the elderly people is looking, you know, and they're clapping. They're clapping, you know. Good is going on. Good
Amen.
Is going on.
Amen.
You know, and
well, this is something, Wallace, that, you know, I got a chance to see this. Mm-hmm. I got a chance to grow up with some folks who sat around and talked about making changes, mm-hmm. who sat around and then made the changes. Mm-hmm. And then by the time that I came around, they could just sit around and enjoy the fruits of their labor.
Right.
That was what, you know, that's what I witnessed. I got to see the silver light of a lot of great folks. I'm getting to see that now with a lot of my elderly family members mm-hmm. who went through desegregation, who were part of that first class at Lafayette High. Yeah. When you know, ninth grade, mm-hmm. They were one of the first. Yeah. And you know, that's a story that I celebrate and I applaud, and that's within my own family.
Okay.
And you know, that's a story that I celebrate and applaud, whether that's my grandparents and they were being, rocks and stuff thrown at them, or, as they were walking to school. And then you look at them, you fast forward, and they're landowners, ranchers, and all that today.
Right.
These are things that I celebrate, and these are the ancestors that I want to make sure that I do a good job of saying they made the sacrifice already.
Right.
The work has been done. What's a little bit more? I can glue some things together. I can put some things together. But at my grandparents' old farm, the well is there already. The barn is there already. The fence is there already. Why not just put it to use?
I'm gonna ask you a question, and it might sound stupid. Do you have any suits, man? I don't never see you. I don't never see you in a suit and tie. Trying to be fly or nothing like this. I always see you where your boots is on the ground and you ready to go.
Well, I always want to be ready to work. I'm an outside kind of guy. But I grew up watching my father. My father, without a doubt, and you know him, he is a suit and tie fly guy every day of the week.
Yeah.
And I have a tremendous respect for him for that, and being able to put on the suit every day, put on his cape, and go take on the corporate America, go take on the world. And I got to see him wake up every day, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., come back 8, 9 o'clock. Taking on the world.
Right.
And, seeing the fruits of that labor now, where he gets some freedom to move around and shake around. That's what I aspire to be one day. I want to be that guy that's in their suit, tie, flying around, jet setting, making deals happen all across America. But for now, this is where I am. I am a boots on the ground guy. I'm going to get my hands dirty. That's why I love the football field. And that's why I'm, dipped my hand into the ranch hand as well out in Carencro.
I knew you had some suits. You like me, man. I like to be in my jeans, my T-shirt, ready to go whenever. If somebody's having problems on the side of the road and I could stop and help them, I do it. If something happened to my automobile, I don't have to worry about, I got my suit pants on, I can't get on my knees to fix the tire, nothing like this here, But it's all good. Well, now we got a caller coming in, Ross, so let's see what the caller's talking about. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the Community Matters Show.
Good morning, Brother Wallace, and good morning to your guest, the great young brother, Mr. Crockwell. I really appreciate you having this show, Brother Wallace. I didn't make it in today as your director and producer, but I had some technical issue. But I want to say, first of all, the focus on the young man sitting next to you. Man, how... I told you, Brother Wallace, I'm a football fan, but I could take it or leave it with today's politics. And I'm normally the one who will ask the question, Mr. Cockwell, about politics and activism. But you know what? I want to go back into football. I hope you don't mind taking maybe 1 or 2 football questions.
No, I could talk football all day.
A big defensive man, in the sense that you played a cornerback, right? The game in the NFL to now emphasize more scoring. I want to ask you that question. Do it emphasize more scoring? Because I remember back in the day, I'm old school, and I could bring up the name of Lem Barney, who played for Detroit. One of the greatest who I ever watched in my days coming up. And then I go up to, almost modern times. Some people would say it's ancient times. Warren Sapp, who played for your namesake Tampa Bay. So, what do you think about the game today as far as defensive players? Is more emphasis on the offensive person as opposed to the defensive person? And the other question is, what do you think about the halftime performance of Mr. Kendrick Lamar? And I hang up and take your answer off there because I'm in a situation where I could just listen via television right now. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Thank you, Brother Jay. Always have good questions, good comment. Thank you for being the producer of the Community Matters Show.
All right. Okay. I got you. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Brother Jay. So your first question, we can talk football all day. So if anybody's got any football questions, best wide receiver I played against, best quarterback I played with, who's the best football city, it's not New Orleans. I will say that. I can wade in some waters today.
Yeah,
I can do that.
Yeah.
But to go back to your question, Brother Jay, this is there's no doubt about it. People want to see points, man. People want to see the Daniels, the high flying, all that. And, you know, at the end of the day, we got to keep the game safe. You know, some of the head injuries that were happening, the repeated, head collisions, and some of the long-term effects for some of those guys like a Jack Tatum, like some of those guys that you mentioned, you saw it. You saw it. And, you know, for us as former football players who are current football players, you'll see it happening now with guys that are retiring early. For example, I played with a guy, Luke Kuechly, who's going to be a Hall of Famer one day, but he retired, some say, in the prime of his career after 7 or 8 years. You know, as one of the all-time NFL leading tacklers, well on his way to being a Hall of Famer. There's no question about it. But you're seeing people who are making whole life decisions, not just monetary decisions about, you know, can I make the most money in the shortest way possible and disregard my body. And you're seeing the NFL respect that and trying to make the game safer. And then obviously that's making it easier for the offenses. And they want, you know, they want Mahomes out there running around throwing some things up. They want Burrow doing his thing, you know, in Cincinnati and throwing the ball all around. That when you see that, then, you know, that's good for the stands. That's good for the people. That's good for ticket prices. You know, that's what the owners want for sure.
Well, Ross, you know, I hope you could stay on for the next hour, but this hour is coming to a close. And all right, folks, you know, I got another hour coming up to you. And Ross, I think you're going to be here for the second hour.
I'll be around for the second hour.
Okay, y'all come back and make sure that y'all have some question or concern about anything. He even threw a little politics out here this morning.
I'll get to the second question too. I love Kendrick Lamar's show. I did. I thought it was great. I think he made a statement more than it was about entertainment.
Yeah.
It was really a statement that he was making about our culture and how we are often taken for granted.
Yes.
And we are the builders. There's no doubt about it. You can talk about it in agricultural ways with slavery. You can talk about it in cultural ways with food and entertainment. Or you can talk about it in just style.
Yeah.
The way that we do things is often imitated in some ways. You can look at Elvis Presley. You can go all the way down the line.
Yes.
So we are the builders of America, and I think that Kendrick Lamar was making an ode to us being the builders of America and how often we are excluded or trying to be denied of our humanity and what we've accomplished.
And that's the best time to do it when you got a big audience, you know. Everybody was listening, looking at it, you know, and the news media picked it up. All of them, even Fox picked it up. Fox didn't have anything good to say about it, but you know that's okay too, you know, because everybody have a viewpoint, everybody have their own opinion. So look here, stay tuned for the second hour of the Community Matters show, and we're gonna take a break, because that's the way it's supposed to go around here, and we'll be back in the second hour.
All right.
Thank you, Ross.
Of course.
All right.